What's up, YouTube? It's your boy D, man, and I'm here at the Blend Guru. I'm bringing y'all a tutorial on how to create a low taper. First, we're gonna go in, comb the client's hair out. All right, now we not just combing just to be combing, okay? We combing, we checking for any skin conditions, any scalp conditions, any scrapes, any bruises, any cowlicks, anything that's gonna prevent you from servicing your client. Make sure we combing the hair in the direction that the hair grows, not in the direction that the client brushes or comb their hair. That's an easy way to lose a client is first thing putting a patch in their head. All right, we're gonna go ahead and establish our first guideline. I like to establish a hard, clean line. That way it ensures that I have a good foundation to start my fade. As you can see, I'm not applying any pressure to the trim, I'm just letting the trimmer work. We don't want to cause irritation to our client. Same thing for the side. Since we're doing a low taper, we're gonna start at the bottom of the C cup and we're gonna curve it to the top of the ear where the ear meets the head. All right, we coming in with our number 2 guard with the grain, making sure everything lays down nice and neat. I kind of noticed that it wasn't taking off enough, so I closed the lever all the way, and we going from there. Probably going to take it down gradually as we go throughout the cut because he does have a good bit of hair on his head, just to make everything flow smoothly. And just remember, guys, when you're taking down the bulk of the hair, use long strokes. All right, slow strokes. Well, it sounds kind of funny, but slow strokes, it takes off a lot more hair than you would think than going faster. Those short, choppy strokes is just basically for pointing out certain areas. But when you're taking down the majority of it, use the long strokes. We're going to go back in with the 1.5 and we're going to take it down just a little bit more, to our liking. That way when we go into our fade process, it'll be a lot less easier to debulk certain areas and you can ensure a clean fade. As keep in mind, when we taking down the bulk of the hair, you want to keep the clip as flat as possible to the client's scalp. You don't have to push too hard. It's going to come out. The clip is going to work for you. Try not to work yourself hard. Let the clippers do the hard work. Here's an example of why you should keep the clipper flat on the client's head. See how the clipper tilted up like that? If you don't have magnetic guard, sometimes that guard will pop off and that can be a big mistake. So make sure you're keeping the clipper flat up against the client's scalp. And you see as I get to the hairline, how I keep the clipper flat up against the hairline, I'm just basically prep working for later on because I'm knocking it down so when it's time for me to get to my hairline, I can already have it laid down and smooth, ready to be edged up. Now we're gonna go ahead on and move into the neck taper. We're gonna go in with the babyliss clipper. We're gonna go leave it all the way open just to establish that primary section. We already got the primary guideline, but now this part is the primary section. So we're gonna go about 1 inch apart and we're gonna make a few passes just to make sure the area between the first guideline and the second guideline is completely smooth. And as you can see, while we're getting into this fade, I'm always using the comb, making sure everything falls back in place so I can see where I'm at and what I have going on. That way I can establish my different sections of the hair, like my one open or my one closed, just different scenarios. But after we get everything nice and smooth, we're going to go to level all the way closed, and we're going to tap at that bottom line. Now we're tapping at that bottom line. You don't want to go too high, just tap at that bottom line, because you don't want to erase that whole section. You just want to tap at that bottom line and blend into it gradually. See how I'm using those corners? You got to use those corners, man. You don't want to use the whole blade. Sometimes you can't use the whole blade. So you want to use those corners just to pinpoint specific areas. It ensures for a cleaner fade. Moving my lever up as I go into the next guideline. As you see, I'm just flicking out, flicking out, flicking out. You don't want to cut with your shoulder or your whole arm. Try to use more of your wrist. Now I'm coming back in with the 1.5, and I'm just basically debulking the next section just to make the hair a little lighter. It'll be easier to fade. So when you're coming into this section, the secondary section, you want to debulk it first, because you can't just fade through the bulk and it's going to be choppy. So you debulk everything first, and then you come back and start fading again. I mean, you fading now, but you're just taking all of the bulk out of the way before you actually start fading in your secondary. Make sure you keep that comb everything back into place. That way you can see what needs to be cut, what doesn't need to be cut. Make calculated strokes. Don't just be moving a clipper, just moving a clipper. Make sure you know what you're cutting and what needs to be cut. I may be moving a little fast, sometimes I do, but slow yourself down. See what you're cutting. Make sure you're getting a good clean cut. And now I'm going to come in with the one guard open, and basically we just continuing to debulk. We tapping at that line, but we not trying to take the line out completely just yet, because we want to fade it out. So we're going to gradually take it out. First we're going to go with the one guard open, and we're going to touch all the spots that need to be touched, and then we're going to come in with the one guard closed, and then we're going to finish up. The one guard closed is probably still not going to take that line out, so I switch clippers and I move on to my Oster fast feeds, and then I'll go open blade and just work it out that way. But as you can see, I'm continuously combing, and his hair grows toward the left side of his head. So when you fading, you want to particularly cut against the grain. So with that being said, that's why my clipper is tilted toward the right, because his hair grows the opposite way. So you want to make sure you doing everything you need to do to get a nice clean fade. I know it's kind of hard to see what I'm doing at this angle, but just kind of bear with me. We're gonna get through it. I gotta get a better camera angle. See how gradually that line is coming out? See how it's slowly starting to disappear? Now I'm switching to my Oster fast feed, all the way open. And this is what I kind of use to detail the fade. So I'm just taking it all the way open and basically tapping at that line. Not going too high, just using my corners, just tapping at that line, and gradually it's going to disappear. I don't want to talk too much, so I'll just let you guys watch while I finish up this back taper. Alright guys, we're moving on to the side table and the same rules apply. We're going to go with the clipper all the way open. Instead of using the whole blade, we're just using them corners because we working with a smaller area. Y'all see how I'm stretching his skin? That helps the clipper glide smoothly across the scalp. Like I say, same rules apply for the back, same thing in the side. Just gotta take your time because you're working with a smaller area. So make sure you're using those corners. It's very important that you use your corners. Next step, we coming in with the one guard open. The same rules apply, all the way open. Just deep bulking that next section just to get a better fade. That way you don't have to try to fade through the bulk. You just deep bulking that section and we're going to come back with the one guard close and we're going to keep tapping at that line. Like I said, you don't want to just take the line completely out right off the jump. You want to gradually take it out. We're not in a rush. We just gradually taking out. It's a learning process. So once you get better, the speed comes after. Don't try to get the speed before you get the technique. So get you a system, find you a system that works, and work it until it's perfected. Another great tip, guys, is to use your mirrors. I can't stress it enough, man. Those mirrors are so helpful. The mirrors are going to show you some things that the eyes won't. So make sure you're checking back in your mirrors. Point to that spot and continue working out that line. Man, if you're doing any cuts and you don't have a mirror behind you, man, just step away from the fade. Back up some. Take a quick glance at it. Look at it from a different angle. It's going to show you some stuff that you need to touch up before you move on to your next stage. I don't want to bore you guys, so just take a few moments to look at what I'm doing while I finish up this side table. Just remember, guys, the same rules apply to the other side. So I'm not going to speak too much on it. I'll just let you guys watch while I knock out this side table. Now we're moving on to the edge up, man. Edge up is very, very important. Very important. First, we're gonna come in, we're gonna debulk all the hair around the edge up, making sure everything is laid down, making sure it's not too much hair. That way, you ensure a nice, clean lineup. We're just taking down those areas all around the edge up. Making sure the clipper is flat against the client's scalp. And right now you can see I'm not digging in it. I'm just using the back of the blade just to knock down that extra hair around the lineup. We're just taking it down, making sure everything is nice and smooth. So when we do come in with the lineup, man, it's gonna be nice and sharp. We're gonna come in with the holding spray just to hold everything in place, and we're gonna brush it down and make sure all those extra little wild hairs hang over the edge up. So when we hit it with the trimmer, it's gonna come off like butter. While we let that holding spray dry, we're gonna go to the back and we're gonna work our way around. Make sure we're not digging into the client scalp. I'm using my babyliss trimmer because it's not set sharp. That way it irritates the client scalp. So this is a perfect clipper for around the ear, kids, behind the neck, all the sensitive areas. See, that lineup brings out visuals in that fade. So I kind of saw some things in that fade that I didn't like. So I went back in the debulk and cleaned it up a little bit after that edge up. So that's why I tell you, go ahead and take your time, double check. Just make sure everything is nice and clean. Alright, man, we moving on to the lineup, man. When we doing the C cup, man, do not exaggerate the C cup, man. Don't push it in trying to create that sharpness. Just give it a nice clean shape. Keep it almost as, the reason why I say almost is because most of the times no edge up is natural. Natural is when it's not touched. So just keep it as natural looking as possible, man. And then once you put the edge up on it, it's like it brings out the flaws in your face, so you're going to go back and touch those up. I see something that I need to go touch up, and I will do in a second. Everything from here on out, fellas, it's just tedious, I call it detailing. You really cleaning up the fade. You detailing the whole fade, and you bringing it to life. You know what I'm saying? Once you put that edge up on it, you bringing everything to life. Nice clean taper, man. Clean taper. Now we moving on to the front lineup. Man, whatever you do, please don't push the climb back, man. Please don't push the climb back. Try to keep it as natural looking as possible, man. You know, you don't want to press too hard. Let the clippers work. Let the clippers work. And these wireless GTXs, man, they do work. So if you got the money to go spend on them, man, I suggest you get a pair, man. It makes your life so much easier. Look how crisp that's coming out, man. One pass, one swipe. Everything's coming out clean. Everything's coming together, man. When you put that line up, that shows you how much work you done put in to get to this point. So you're being creative at this point, man. You know, it's not just the haircut. It's about the creativity you bring, you know, to the haircut. When you line these vertical bars up, man, try to angle your clipper toward the corner of the eyebrow, not straight down, because everybody's edge up doesn't go straight down. So you want to create the illusion that it's going straight down by angling it to the corner of the eyebrow. And I'm just swiping down to get the extra help, but I will come back in with the razor and clean everything up. The razor work is very important on the edge up, very important. Alright guys, we coming to the end of the video, man. Y'all stick around to the end just to see the finished product. I know we're almost there, but we still got that razor work to get in. Man, if you learned anything from this video, man, if you liked the video, man, like the video. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know in the comments what's your favorite clipper to use or what's your favorite liner to use. You know what I'm saying? Like the video. Subscribe, leave a comment, share, you know. It's the first video, and I got plenty more to go, so we're going to grow together. Watch me finish off the cut, and as always, stay blessed. Head down. Head up.